All right, we have already talked about the Stono Rebellion. We did this in the context of the shift from servitude to slavery, but it's such a key event that it warrants looking at it through two different lenses. So, in this context, you're looking at it within the French and Indian Wars. This one specifically happens under King George's War. And the thing to think about is when the Spanish offer freedom to any runaway slaves that can make it to Spanish held Florida. This isn't an honest effort at freedom. This is a war tactic. And so this tells us how entrenched slavery is by the 1730s in the North American colonies. That the Spanish know they can use it as a tactic of war, that it would terrorize the English colonists to know that their slaves would rise up in rebellion, and that it would also not only terrorize them, but it would disrupt and hurt their economy. So that's one key takeaway with the Stono Rebellion. The other to think about is just some of the parts of the rebellion itself. You've already seen parts of it, and then you're gonna in the other film clip, and now you're gonna watch another film clip that looks at it. And they note that when they rise up, they do spare the life of one slave owner who was reported to be kind to his slaves. Now, kindness to slaves always sounds like a little bit of an oxymoron to me, but you're an owner of slaves. But what does it say about the conditions of slavery that in this march they find one person? Another thing to think about, too, in reference to the conditions of slavery, is communication. I'm pretty sure that slave owners weren't saying, "Oh, hey, did you hear? If you run to Spanish-held Florida, you can get your freedom." But slaves knew. They understood. They'd gotten this information, and that's exactly what they were doing. And then also in terms of communication, there was communication to know which slave owners were kind. Another thing to think about, too, in terms of the conditions of slavery are the two documents that you have in your outline. The first document after the rebellion, they are giving awards to slaves who were helpful in finding those that participated in the rebellion, and the rewards are clothes. What does that say about the conditions of slavery if a reward is a pair of shoes or a pair of stockings? Note, too, they're also rewarding Native Americans who assisted in looking for the rebelling slaves. That's that divide and conquer tactic, right? Native Americans and enslaved people should be allies, not enemies, but the colonists are putting them against each other. And then the document you have by Bull there, what I wanted you to think there was the language. Look at how Bull describes the enslaved peoples that are rising up in rebellion. They are called, I'm going to look at the document here, so I can find some sections to point out to you. They are referred to as desperate. They are referred to as deserters. They are referred to as R's and as mischievous. And they are referred to as rebels. However, the white militia, they're referred to as gentlemen and as to have been brave. And I just find his choice of words here interesting. When these black men are rising up for their freedom and they are rebels, they use negative words to describe them. They're deserters, they're mischievous. But in about 30 years, when white people rise up in rebellion and we call them rebels, we use different words, much more positive words. So again, that word choice is interesting. The New York conspiracy trial, that you're going to watch the Stono clip. After that, we'll go into the New York conspiracy trial. And that's significant because I think we often associate slavery in the South, and we forget that this is not just a Southern institution, but it's an American institution. And the New York conspiracy trials show us that, and the real just harshness of the executions that happen in the wake of these fires that we can't even really associate with anyone. It may have just been a coincidence. So watch over that clip as well, and then if you've got any questions, you can leave those in the discussion module with this lecture. Take care.